How's it going, everybody? And welcome to another edition of the Startup Mac. This is our fifth vlog. I'm your host, McKeever Edward Collin II. You can call me Mac. And I'm back with my normal co-host.
It's Kate Alegado, and I'm not feeling too well today, so I do apologize for my voice. But Mac's going to do all the talking anyways.
Yeah, what she said. So this episode is going to be about consistency, how important it is to your business, and how to get yourself back to being consistent or staying consistent. Because sometimes that can be tough for an entrepreneur when you have a million and one things going, but you still have certain things you need to be consistent with, like putting out your weekly vlog.
Yeah, what happened? Mac, I will take responsibility for 2 weeks ago. I have no idea what I did. I know that you were ready, but I was ready this week. But I know that there was a holiday, so I do apologize for that as well. But yes.
Well, for me, I had a set schedule, and once we got thrown off that schedule, everything kind of went awry because you have all the meetings and different things that come up. But you still have to find a way to be consistent, even when things don't go the way as planned or when you have other things pop up. You still need to figure out a way to keep things going on a constant basis, especially when it comes to content, like you do with a blog or like you do with social media. If you're doing a lot of social media marketing, consistency is always going to be key. Having consistent content that your users can rely on. They know how often it's going to come out. They know it's going to come out often. They know it's going to come out regularly. That makes a difference, especially when you're trying to grow an audience or grow a following, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, blog. Consistency is definitely key.
So, we're going to talk about consistency and we're going to talk about content. How do you do that? Because most recently, this is like to the T, where I'm training up for a triathlon this coming September. The Nation's Triathlon. If any of you guys are doing it, go get them. But I'm doing it with the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, and I'm getting the website up because we have to raise funds to go for the initiative. And I started the website because they have their fundraising page, and I said I was going to put up a daily fitness workout, and I was going to do letters to get donations in and get my Facebook. What's so sad is that I am a digital marketer. I can do it for anyone else. But when it comes to myself, especially when it's something that I have to raise like $4,400 for, I just can't seem to keep going. Like, I started everything, like everything looks really nice, but I'm just that next step. Like, Mac, how do you do it?
It's hard. So the next step is a lot of people can get started on things, can start things, can get those first couple things moving. To keep pushing forward and consistently work on something, especially when you don't actually see the light at the end of the tunnel right away, like when you're building a product and you've been working on it for 3 or 4 months, but you're still another 3 or 4 months out. Those first 2 or 3 months is a lot of excitement, it's a lot of hype. Everybody's all in. But once you get about 4 or 5 months in, you just know you're building, making all this stuff, and you're not really seeing the ending coming. It gets hard, and that's when people tend to fall off. And so for me, the biggest thing for me was the importance of having a strong team. Even with doing this blog, when I don't feel like doing it or when I'm tired, I have you calling me, messaging me, talking to me, like, hey, Mac, what's going on? When we going to do our blog? What's happening? And so having that accountability factor has always helped me. So, even in the early days of my first startup, when me and my team were working together, we all used the same, we used the tool to help manage all the tasks. Yeah. So you might have a day where you're not feeling it, you come home from work and like, I don't feel like coding on this tonight. And so you're just laying in bed, watching basketball, watching football, and then all of a sudden at 11 o'clock at night, you hear a ping, and it's your email, and it's saying, one of your teammates just finished the task. Then you hear another ping. Your other teammate just finished the pass. Then another hour later, you hear another ping. And then you have to sit there and you think to yourself, like, I don't want to be the only person who didn't finish anything tonight. And it helps motivate you, it pushes you. Because you don't want to be the person who lets the team down. And so for me, the thing that's helped me be the most consistent is the accountability of my teammates.
So, well, I remember our vlog like 3 weeks ago. We were talking about teams and how I want to get on a team, and how I'm not even a part of a team in terms of startup. Well, like, what about those folks that tend to be more introverted, or maybe they're not a part of a team, or like solo entrepreneurs? There you go.
Well, I feel like every entrepreneur should have a team, first and foremost. Like, get yourself, if you don't have a team, get a team. Like, you need a team. But as a solo entrepreneur, I would say find other people to hold you accountable. Because you don't have to have a team to have people hold you accountable. You might have one or two good friends in the same space or organization that you're, are the same vertical that you're in, who you talk to, who you got to know, who you share ideas with, who's part of your inner circle, who you can reach out to, like, hey, I'm working on something. I just want you to, just ping me every so often. Keep me on my toes. Keep me focused on this, and that helps. Just like if you had reached out to me, Kate, and told me that you were working on this, doing this triathlon, and you wanted somebody to just push you every so often, then I would probably set a reminder that like 2 or 3 times a week I would hit you up, just ask you how things are going. And if you tell me they're not and you're not doing it, I would give you a hard time. And those kind of things, well, they're not always that intuitive.
Hmm.
They help. They help push us. They
Yeah.
help keep us moving forward.
So I'm going to be expecting you pinging me along with any of you guys listening in. Please do. If you don't see any updates about my triathlon event, yes, tweet me, or if there's anything that Mac's not doing, tweet him or email him, because I surely will.
And and that's the other thing. Like just like we said, having a team's important. Even if you don't have a team, having a strong circle of people that you trust, people who you're comfortable sharing your ideas with, opening up to, people who might be sharing the same struggle as you as an entrepreneur, is very important. Your network is so important on so many different levels. It's not only just a network for your company, but it's also your personal network for your personal growth. Um, those people in your network will always push you. Because I have a good friend now in my network who reads a ton of books, and he's always telling me about good books he's reading. And so now he's got me, looking into a few of the books he's talked about. Like, I'm trying to keep up and learn the things that he's learning. But I probably wouldn't have that initiative if he wasn't in my ear talking to me about it all the time.
So would you say that having consistency allows you to build a lot of credibility and actually potentially become an influencer like your friend that reads a lot of books?
Definitely. When people know that you're consistent, they know they can reach out to you. They know that you're on top of things. They know you're on top of your game. You're on top of your knowledge base. That definitely goes a long way. That goes a long way to being a thought leader. It goes a long way to building a following. It goes a long way to building brand trust. So if you're the person who's in charge of putting out content for your brand, the more consistent you are, the more trusting your customers are going to be of you, because they know that they can expect things from you, as opposed
Mhm.
to when you tell people something that you're going to release a new blog every Thursday, but then you'll go 2 and 3 weeks at a time without releasing a blog, and you have people reaching out to you like, hey, when's the blog coming? When are you going to put out the next one? Well, then after a certain period of time, people are just going to stop looking for it. You want to avoid those kind
Yeah.
of things happening at all costs.
Guilty over here. With my stuff though, like that's just a funny thing. Like with other projects for anyone else, we're good to go. Well, okay, so like let's can we talk about that, or can you address about that issue with some entrepreneurs or some people, professionals that do like a kick-ass job? I don't know if I can say kick-ass, but I just
You can
did.
say kick ass.
Okay, cool. So that do an incredible job on doing projects for other people, but just has that lack of consistency for themselves.
I think that comes from a lot of different things.
Damn.
One being fear.
Oh,
When you're doing something yourself, the more consistent you are, the more real it becomes. So like when you're starting to do a project, it's just a cool idea that I'm putting a few hours here or there. It's just something to do. But once you stay consistent with it, at some point, it becomes more than just a project. It becomes a real business. It becomes
Mm-hmm.
a real opportunity. And that means maybe putting more time or more effort or extending yourself beyond what you initially wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
or just realizing I'm in charge of something. That kind of builds fear for some people, and that holds them back. The other thing I would say would be stability. When you have a job where you're getting a paycheck every week, you know exactly where your money's coming from. You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly how to do your bills. As opposed to when you're working on a project, you're not getting paid anything initially or very little up front. And so you have one job over here that's paying you, well, or is paying the bills, and you have this other project you're working on. Well, the thing that pays your bills sometimes in your mind takes precedent. It takes a special kind of person that allows their side project to take precedence over the job that pays their bills. But it also helps push for that consistency. But that's a hard thing to do. Not everybody is going to do that. Not everybody wants to do that.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say there's a lot of different factors that come into play, but fear being one and stability being another. That the whole idea of, if you're going to be consistent on a project, after a certain period of time, that project's what you're going to be doing. And when you decide to take on a project full time, it's taking that leap of faith. And that leap of faith is scary. That leap of faith is so scary. And not everybody's ready to do that. Not everybody wants to do that. And everybody goes about it differently. Some people will choose to build their companies much slower, very slowly. Wait till you got revenue coming in. Wait till you have money coming in. And it might take you a couple of years to get there, but they'll wait till they get to a point where their side project's paying them enough money where it can take care of their bills. And then they can decide they want to go all in. As I hear Max in the background agreeing with me.
Sorry, I'm whacking him over here. He's. I want to close this. Oh, just for anyone that's wondering, I'm not on my computer. I'm actually on my iPhone. Well, the beauty of technology is that I can just move around and still talk to you guys. Sorry about that.
It's cool.
But thank you though. I think when it comes to different projects or even this triathlon fundraising thing is I definitely do. I'm going to admit, and I hope that everyone else that might have this sense of fear just admit it. So I am admitting it to you guys on Google Hangout and to Mac, who's going to ping me to make sure that I'm consistent and actually take ownership of it. So I'm gonna just launch everything, and that's the first step, right?
That's the first step. That is
Okay.
definitely the first step. Consistency for me. I need to. I need to be more consistent with this blog. We started off really good, hit a little rough patch, due to some personal issues and some business issues going on. But we are definitely going to stay consistent with this weekly blog because I really want to answer everybody's questions. I want to get into a lot more about startup life, startup culture, building your network, uh, how you do cold emailing, cold tweeting, building up a pipeline, all these different topics I want to get to, and I want to make sure I'm able to share because I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of people reach out to me for mentoring or for advice, and I feel like I need to reach more people. So I definitely want to get more consistent with this blog. But as far as consistency for my business, my current project, Redberry, with 3 R's, that's something I've stuck to day one, especially with our social media content and marketing, because for me, I found that marketing through social media has been one of the most powerful forms of marketing that I've been able to have, and it's all about being consistent every single day. So I post to Instagram to the Redberry account at the Redberry app every day, about 8 times a day at minimum. Sometimes up to 12 or 13 times a day, every single day, just to build up a following. And that following is leading to new users and new customers for our app for when we launch. So I'm building a pipeline using Instagram. The same thing was true for my first company when we were just a registry site that allowed people to make donations to items on your registry. what I first did was I would go on Twitter and I would find people talking about what they wanted for their birthday, and I would insert myself into their conversation and tell them, hey, that's really cool. If you really want the iPhone, you should put it on your wish list on Given.to and tell all your friends to contribute money towards it. And I would do 40 of those, 20 to 40 every day, 1 to 2 hours a day, just hitting people every single day. And we would generate, at first it was like 1 or 2 users a day, then it became 3 or 5 users a day, and then it got to, 10 to 20 users a day. But I had to be consistent with that every single day. I had to dedicate an hour or 2 or 3 every single day to generating that content and reaching out to people to generate customers on our site. And so I learned early on that the more consistent you are, the faster you'll start to see exponential growth.
You just have to stay consistent. Hey, I will say that 20.
No, we lost Kate. Well, everybody, on that note, I think we've come to the end of the end of this podcast, the end of this blog. Anybody has any questions or wants to know more, all the information for the way you can get in touch with me or get in touch with Kate will be in the description below. Please send us your questions through email or through comments, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.